have the fastest creature on the planet here today. A peregrine falcon. Just a beautiful bird designed for speed, although she can't fly anymore, which is why she's with us. But that's the feather from a peregrine. Even the stealth bomber was designed after the peregrine falcon. Studied by military because of their speed and aerodynamics. Just an amazing bird. Isis is here. In the big golden box, we have the king of all birds, the bird of kings, the golden eagle. And we have a bird, just for you, Betsy, that is a red-tailed hawk. Native Americans feel that that's a very lucky bird to see, so you all have good luck today after we get Saber out. This is Carol Fackler. Carol is a professor of nursing at the University of Southern USM, Southern Maine. And she's an enormous help, and she knows a lot about all these birds, so they all have names. Sassafras, for example, is a little eastern screech owl, and even though we name them, we don't consider them pets. We don't pet them. They wouldn't understand being petted as a friendly dog might. They are all attached to us with a leash that they wear only during programs. So not one bird's going to break free and land on your head or anything fun like that. They are all tied to us. We have a splat mat down here because we promised Hill House to leave the room in the same condition under which we found it. And it's very hard to housebreak an owl, but we'll figure it out right. These are traveling boxes, and we have big aviaries in Dresden. WindOverWings is all education, and it is all outreach. So we bring the birds to you so that you can see them up close and personal. And so they are traveling in these boxes, and little Sassafras is going to be complaining because it's the middle of her night. She is nocturnal, and she would like to be sleeping. And you'll hear why they get the name Screech Owl. It's as big as she gets. She's not a baby. She is an eastern screech owl, and she'll talk for you. Carol Fackler.
So this is Sassafras, and I'll walk around a little bit after I'm finished telling you a little bit about her. She's one of the two smallest owls we have in Maine, an eastern screech owl. We actually have a lot of these owls in Maine, but we don't see them all the time because they live in hollowed-out trees in the forest, and they come out at night to hunt. So they sleep all day and they hunt all night. And so because we have so much forest here in Maine, they actually are hidden from humans most of the time. We understand from our friends here who take care of injured birds that they rarely see one of these eastern screech owls. Because unlike Connecticut, where we came from, where there's a lot more people, these owls don't get into trouble as easily here in Maine. She's what we call a tufted owl. You see the feathers coming up from her head. They look like ears, but they're not ears. Her ears are on the side of her head. And she has, all raptors have three features. Raptors are hawks, eagles, owls, and falcons. They all have talons to catch their food with their feet. They have a hooked beak in order to tear their food apart. And they have eyes going straight forward because they're predators looking for something to eat. Little Sassafras, she's actually 5 years old and an adult female, so she's fully grown, about halfway through her life. And when she was less than 1 year old, when she was small, not small but young, she actually likely was born in a chimney, which is not uncommon. If the chimney doesn't have a calf, then owls will go down in the chimney, or squirrels or raccoons. And she was born in the chimney and was living in the chimney when a man who owned the house came home and built a fire. When he built the fire, he heard the owls, probably the mother was there too, moving around. So he did the right thing. He put the fire out. So she didn't get burned. She didn't inhale any smoke. But because she was trying to get out of the chimney, she hurt her head, because her head was banging against the chimney. So as a result, her eyesight is not quite correct. And we can't really correct it with glasses, so she actually doesn't see well enough to hunt. So she would not be safe in the wild because she wouldn't be able to successfully hunt at night not having the correct eyesight. And that's why she's with us. We often use her story to teach people to put those screen caps on your chimneys so animals can't get down there. She eats 2 mice a day. She lives outdoors in an she eats 2 mice at night when she comes out and does a lot of swimming in the water dish that she has, even during the winter where the water is kept plugged into electricity so it won't freeze. She's swimming around every night. You see evidence of that in the morning. So she's a pretty active owl. This is an owl that stays here all year long. It doesn't migrate anywhere. It stays in Maine all year long. And it's one of the owls, as I mentioned, that's hard to see up close because they actually are not visible during the day. And at night they're in the forest, so you don't see them. Do you have questions about the eastern screech owl?
Do they turn all the way around?
Almost all the way around. 270 degrees. So 270 degrees, almost all the way around. And if I put her like this, she's not going to be happy. But she might turn around a little bit more.
Oh my goodness. You can turn your head about that far.
So she might go, there she goes. Because their eyes are so big in their head, they don't have the muscles we have to be able to look up and down without moving their head, so they have to move their whole head around. So 270 degrees. And Hope will often talk about owls and this ability and say that there's only 3 other people that can do that. Mothers can do that. Teachers can do that, right? And nurses can do that. Any other questions about the eastern screech owl? They do have that, you hear that sound. She actually has a sound that is a little bit immature, actually. The normal eastern screech sound sounds like a horse whinnying. That's the normal sound of an eastern screech owl. But because she was injured when she was less than a year old, and then had to be rehabilitated and now has been in captivity, she hasn't been able to hear adult owls making the sound. So her sound is never really matured. She has a different kind of sound. But she's very vocal. We took her to a radio station in Connecticut during rush hour in the morning. And so Hope was talking about eastern screech owls, and everybody driving to work could hear her on the radio, hear her making her sound. And even though they couldn't see her, they could hear her, and they knew what an eastern screech owl might sound like. So I do walk around a little bit. I might be able to see over here. Let me just walk around. Well, first of all, let me take you close to the birthday man of the day. Oh, I hear you. She's become quite a veteran teacher, so she probably has no more. Oh, nice place, Saber. Whoa. This is Saber, a red-tailed hawk. And Saber is 21 years old.
I'll stop.
Oh, thank you.
21. She's an older hawk. Sad face. She's named after the rusty-colored red tail feathers. And this beautiful hawk belonged in